So, welcome back, my dear children, to our online classes once more. Today, we are going to start with a poem, A Photograph by Shirley Tolson. A very beautiful poem. It is going to give you all kinds of feelings that you have when you look at an old photograph of your very near and dear person. Those feelings will be aroused in this poem as we take the journey with Shirley Tolson. This poem by Shirley Tolson is a tribute to her mother. Tribute means a kind of dedication or an offering. One day, she finds an old photograph of her mother pasted on a cardboard sheet. Now see, in olden days, in the past times, we used to have photographs, black and white photographs, which we used to keep them framed. So those kinds of framed photographs are very emotional. They bring nostalgia in our minds if we see an old framed photograph. So one fine morning, this poet, Shirley Tolson, found an old framed photograph of her mother pasted on a cardboard sheet, and she remembered very well her mother talking about that photograph with great love. When she found the photograph, she suddenly remembered her mother talking about that photograph with great love. Why? Let us find out why. The poet looks at the cardboard on which there is a childhood photograph of her mother. Now, in the beginning, we find the poet looking at the cardboard on which there is a childhood photograph of her mother, around 12 years of age. Now, here we have allusion. We open this poem with a poetic device, allusion. What is an allusion? Allusion is a figure of speech in which the writer makes a reference to a famous story, person, object, or event. I am not going to detail too much. Here also we find making a reference. Making a reference to what? To the lack of permanence of human life. Now the question right in the first line or the first line itself is very important. You can highlight it in your text because it is a very important line, and that line always faces a question about the use of cardboard. Why is cardboard mentioned in the very first line? So we use cardboard, or the poet has mentioned cardboard in the first line because cardboard has got a temporary, or it is not durable. Cardboard lacks permanence, or cardboard is temporary or lacks durability. Similarly, like the cardboard, there is a lack of durability in human life. So, that is the poetic device that is used here while mentioning this word cardboard. She had gone for a sea holiday with two of her cousins, Betty and Dolly. So what were the names of her two cousins, Betty and Dolly? So who had gone for the sea holiday? The mother had gone, or that girl of 12 years had gone for a sea holiday. While they were paddling, their uncle took a photograph of them. While they were paddling, while all the three children were paddling means moving their feet or playing in the water. That time, their uncle, Betty and Dolly's father, or most probably her mother's uncle, took a photograph of them. Both the cousins were holding the hands of her mother, who was the oldest among the girls. Both the cousins, both Betty and Dolly, were holding both the hands of the poet's mother. This was before the poet was born. Now understand, the poem is divided. The poem is very short, very small poem, children. But very small poems always happen to have very big very deep meanings, very big and very deep meanings. So we are going to understand there are two parts in this poem. One is before the birth of the poet and one is after the birth of the poet. So I have explained till the time the poet was born, and now we move on. Now see, in the picture, in the photograph, the poet writes a line, the poet sees or goes through those particular emotions where the sea waters had washed their terribly transient feet. Now, what is the meaning of this line? Terribly transient feet. Please underline terribly transient feet. In the picture, the sea waters seem to wash their feet, by which nature means feet are transient. All feet are transient. Why? Because feet are temporary. Human life is short-lived as compared to nature. Now, in the picture, the waters seem to wash their feet, which are temporary in nature. Feet are temporary in nature because it is a part of human life, and human life is temporary in nature, right? So here we have used the poetic device transferred epithet. What is transferred epithet? When the quality of one noun is attached to another noun. The quality of one noun is attached to another noun, then we call it a transferred epithet. How this quality has been attached? The quality of life. What is the quality of life, my children? The quality of life is temporary. And this temporary quality has been attached to feet. So feet have also become temporary. So one quality of one noun has been attached to another noun. Right? So that is why we are using this poetic device known as transferred epithet. And also we have alliteration here because terribly transient. The word T sound is repeated in their terribly transient. T has been repeated thrice. But transferred epithet is the dominant device. Transferred epithet is the prominent poetic device. If it is asked which poetic device has been used, you are confidently going to write what? Transferred epithet. Why? Because it holds more prominence, right? To explain the temporary nature of the feet. The quality of this line, the depth of this line has been more expressed or more explained in transferred epithet than alliteration. So if it is asked for the figure of speech, you are going to write transferred epithet and you can add alliteration or you can omit alliteration. Right? We are moving on. Time flew past since, and all those who are in the photographs changed physically while the sea remained the same. Time flew past and all those three children who are there in the photograph, they all grew up. They changed physically while the sea, the nature remained the same. The sea hasn't changed much. Her mother would look at the photograph about 20 to 30 years later. About 20 to 30 years later, her mother would look at the photograph and laugh. Why did she laugh? Because she was laughing when she had relived, when she remembered those memories and talked about how oddly Betty and Dolly used to be dressed for the beach. She pointed out that her cousins Betty and Dolly, they used to be very oddly dressed up for the beach, and she remembered Betty and Dolly and she laughed at the memories. The sea holiday was remembered by her mother with fondness as well as a sense of loss, because that sea holiday would never return in her life anymore. Children, when we grow up, our childhood days or our childhood joys and fun and enjoyment do not return to our lives anymore. So, similarly, whatever holidays that we have spent, our summer vacations when we were small and winter vacations when we were small, those memories are never going to come back. Those memories will never be actually happening again. The memories will be living in our only hearts. The memories will be there in our hearts and minds, and we will feel happy whenever we are reliving, whenever we are thinking about them again. Similarly, her laughter would never return to the narrator. Whose laughter? The mother's laughter would never return to the narrator. The mother's laughter is also gone, a matter of the past. So, it will never return to the narrator. The sea holiday was the mother's past, and her laughter is the daughter's past. Her laughter is gone from her daughter's life. So, the sea holiday was the mother's past, and the mother's laughter was the daughter's past. Did you get it? We are moving on. Both these pasts, the sea holiday as well as the laughter of her mother, are remembered with a difficulty and yet easy sense of loss in the line labored ease of loss. Labored ease of loss. What does this line mean? This is also a very important line, and very important question can be there asking you about the poetic device, about the explanation, about the meaning, and every possible small questions can be there on this labored ease of loss. So first and foremost, the poetic device used here is oxymoron. In the last class, I have already detailed what is an oxymoron. When two opposite ideas, I had told you in the last class, walking around like living dead. So, something like that, two opposite ideas are explained together. We term it as oxymoron. Here, the same way, labored and easy are two opposite words describing the same feeling, loss. How the same feeling is described in two opposite ways? The loss of the holiday and laughter was easy. The loss of the holiday and the laughter, they were both easy because these things have to be accepted as part of life. They were both easy to accept because they are a part of life. Loss of old holidays, you have accepted. Loss of any laughter, you have accepted because they are a part of life. Loss of any laughter means if anybody has left us, we have learned to accept people, our near and dear ones, leaving us. They are merely a part of the past and cannot be brought back or relived. It cannot be brought back or relived. However, because they cannot be brought back, or relived, there will always be a hint of difficulty letting them go completely. You have accepted. Understand, children, when we accept things, sometimes we accept some things in life with a pinch of salt. Means with a great difficulty we accept. Some of the spellings and some of the grammatical mistakes are there, so I am trying to correct them as I am reading or as I am explaining. Please ignore the grammatical errors. If I'm going to correct them again, it will take time. So I'm sorry about it. So the grammatical errors I'm trying to correct. Like here, the loss of the holiday and the laughter were. Here it is mentioned was. So please ignore. I'm sorry about it. The loss of the holiday and laughter were easy to accept. But we are accepting it with a pinch of salt. That is what we say, with a hint of difficulty. There will always be a deep loss in forgetting them. Right? They will always be seen as a deep loss. So, labored ease. Labored means a great difficulty will be there in forgetting them. And easy means they have to be accepted. Right? These naturally acceptable things sometimes become too difficult to forget. Now, it has been 12 years since her mother had passed away. The girl in the photograph seems like a different person, grown up altogether. Means the girl in that photograph, she seems to be like a different person. Okay, grown up. That small child had grown up, been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived. I've highlighted the two words, that girl. That girl in the picture, what was her age at that time? 12 years. And now she has been dead for 12 years. Her mother was dead for 12 years. And thus, the use of the words, that girl. Did you understand why that girl has been used? Please, I am again and again drawing your attention to the highlighted words, because small questions or any kind of in between the lines questions can be asked from these particular highlighted words. So please pay attention, and wherever you need to rewind, listen to the video once again. Please do it, right? We are moving on. And about the fact that her mother has passed away, leaving behind nothing but memories and photographs like this one. So the mother had left, leaving behind nothing but memories and photographs like this one. And of this circumstance, there is nothing to say at all. It's silence, silences. There is nothing to be said, right? It is a part of life. Death is a part of life. And we have to accept it. And on thinking of it, one really has no words to express on how one feels. And that is why when we accept the natural things of life with a deep sense of loss, we become sometimes speechless. We become silent. We don't have words to express. Sometimes the loss is so deep and so much means unforgettable loss for us. The silence of the whole situation. The photograph is silent. The loss also has become a kind of deep silence for the poet, because it is a natural loss. The poet has to accept it, and the whole situation silences the poet and leaves her permanently quiet. The poetic device used here is alliteration and personification. The situation has been given the human quality of silence, and so personification, whenever we personify, we attribute or we attach human quality. So here the situation has been given or attached with the human quality of silence. And the sound of S has been repeated. In the last line, look at the last line I have highlighted. The silence silences. So S sound is repeated, right? We come to the theme of the poem. The camera has managed to capture a moment in time. It kept the memory of the mother alive. The sea holiday brought a sad smile to the mother's face because she couldn't relive the holidays. But she was glad that she had once enjoyed it so much. Similarly, thinking of her mother's laughter brought a sad smile to the poet's face, because although the laughter was gone, like the sea holiday, she was glad the daughter was also glad to have it once in her life. Nature is perennial, nature is permanent, nature is everlasting, while human life is temporary or transient. The poet uses a transferred epithet, terribly transient feat, in order to make this comparison and highlight the terribly short-lived life of her mother. And to end, I'm just rewinding, as in the Portrait of a Lady, we have read that story by Khushwant Singh. This poem also deals with the same theme of loss and bereavement. Bereavement means death, and the impact it leaves on those who are left behind. Khushwant Singh will never forget his grandmother. Similarly, here also we find the poet never forgetting her mother, and we are reliving the natural emotions that the poet faces for her mother, right? Hope you enjoyed the poem. We are moving on. The poet here presents a poignant scene, a deep scene of the rush of memories felt when she looks at her mother's smiling picture from before she was born. Before the poet was born, she looks at her mother's smiling picture. The smile was heartening, but poles apart from her morose expression later in her life. That smile was heartening. The mother's smile was very, very encouraging, but it was far apart. Poles apart means far apart from her expression later in her life, from whose expression that the poet is missing. Morose means sad expression of missing her mother. If not in reality, maybe she was not happy in reality, but the poet got the warm comfort of her smile. The poet got the warm comfort of her mother's smile through the photograph. Throughout the poem, the poetess wants to say, what? That death is unavoidable. Death is unavoidable, so let us embrace our lives. Human life is transient. Human life is temporary, not permanent. So let us embrace our life. Let us fall in love with our life. Right? So that is all. And we have the word meanings. I have noted down the word meanings for you. Please note down the word meanings in your notebooks, and please keep your work as neat and clean as possible for our internal assessment, right? So that is all for now.